Hello, Michael. How are you?
I'm fine, yourself?
I'm doing great. My name is Nick. This is Dan.
How we doing?
And more importantly, ladies and gentlemen, Michael J. White.
Can you close the door? Or?
Yeah, I'm gonna get the people out of here.
Actually, wait, before you close the door, we gotta let people know who's in here. Oh, damn it didn't work.
Dynamite. There it is.
Not nearly loud enough. I apologize, Michael.
That's all right. We get it. Was there something on there?
No, I wish.
Cool. Hello. Hello. Yes, just saw a couple of y'all a little while ago.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hello again.
So, Michael, I pretty much just wanna. I was gonna ask you a couple things, kind of myself, because I have a microphone and haha. And I wanted to ask you guys. I want to ask you a couple questions about some things, and then we'll kind of open it up to the crowd.
Cool.
Just kind of starting off, because play the song. Black Dynamite is fantastic. It's one of my favorite comedies of the past 15 years. So
even though it was based off true events, as we all know.
Absolutely.
So actually, that's one of the questions. I kind of had is you were talking about when you were making the movie that Black Dynamite is not just about the character Black Dynamite. You're not just playing Black Dynamite. You're essentially playing an actor playing Black Dynamite. Like everybody has a backstory.
Yeah. Now, well, like you know how I guess like in the '90s, a lot of actors were rappers.
Yeah. Right.
Well, back in the '70s, a lot of black actors were football players.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and a lot of those movies, like like The Slaughter, and
Right.
a lot of guys like Jim Brown, Fred Williamson.
Right.
These guys were football players.
Yeah.
Before they were actors. So, what I created was in Black Dynamite, the guy who played Black Dynamite, Ferrante Jones, was a football player.
Right. You play for the Colts, right?
Well, yeah. And he had his neck broken in an injury, a football injury, and he could only turn his head to the left. It was all of this was backstory, like and actually when I was doing the character for a long time, we were gonna do a thing where I can never turn right, and so like I turn right like this, but if I had to look left, I'd do this. But yeah, we did a whole lot of backstory.
Mm-hmm.
But
And just a lot of subtle jokes like this. For anybody who hasn't seen Black Dynamite, rush out to see it. It's great. Mm-hmm. There's so many like just hidden subtle jokes. The boom mic and the actor saying the stage directions in his actual lines. Like there's so many subtle jokes that just totally land in that movie. And I know that was kind of a passion project for you. Like that's something that you created, all because of a test shot that you did, right?
Well, I had the idea to do the movie. The whole movie came, kind of in my head, like the start and finish. I knew that this movie was going to end with a nunchuck fight with Nixon, And so then it was just about like crafting this crazy ass movie that I had in my head, getting it out of my head, and then onto screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and speaking of crazy ass movies and just crazy in general, you were arguably the first real African American superhero. You played Spawn, played Al Simmons in Spawn. So, no, you're not wrong. So speaking of crazy and just that crazy phenomenon, just at the time, because Spawn just blew up. What was that like? What was it like kind of sitting in the meeting discussing before the movie was made? Like what was it like talking about Spawn with Todd McFarlane, kind of becoming that character?
Well, I mean, it was exciting. It came out of nowhere for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know the story, but I was set to do the first Mortal Kombat.
Oh.
And I was cast as Jax in the first Mortal Kombat.
Right.
And then I took a meeting with the Spawn people, not knowing what the hell it was.
Right.
And then, so after the meeting, I go home. I said, well, I don't know what that was about. And so basically, a friend of mine who's another actor, said, Mike, man, like a week or so later, says, I got an audition to play Jax. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm Jax. I'm already cast as Jax. And then I call my agent freaking out, like, what's this all about? And he tells me the good news that I'm Spawn.
Oh.
And that means, so because the movies were shooting close to the same time.
Right.
And I'm like, you mean that meeting I had with those people?
That was an audition you didn't even know.
I actually didn't know. And my agent was, really excited about it. And I thought, he's like, oh, it's incredible. I'm like, wait a minute, okay, let me figure out what is really going on here. Right. So it was kind of a surprise, so it kind of happened that way.
All right.
And then I had to learn what I was got myself into.
Right.
It came out to be a very good thing.
Yeah. It was, Spawn was really probably the hottest commodity in the 90s comics-wise at that point.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
No, go ahead. I hate that. We have a tandem, I swear. It works sometimes. Doing research for the Spawn, was it more the comic books or was it that HBO cartoon series that you kind of studied for the...
No, that came later. I actually ended up shooting the movie before the comic book series, the cartoon series came out, but the cartoon series beat the movie out.
Okay.
But see, I thought, okay, I got a whole stack of Spawn stuff, trying to do my diligence, trying to study, the character. But then I realized the movie's only about the guy turning into Spawn.
Right.
So all I had to do was read the order, the first one, basically. And so, I'm like, hey, but it's really whoever Al Simmons is.
Right.
If you know that character, and then he's learning about what Spawn is, because. That's really, I didn't have to do that much research.
Right.
Correct, yeah.
Because your whole job is to find out what Spawn is along with Al.
Yeah.
So it works that you don't do that.
Yeah, so it wasn't much to do.
But as far as what much to do, like, what was the costume like? Because I know at that time.
See, that was the backfire. See, I thought we had different costumes. There was like some costumes that you want to do stunts in that it's okay to shoot from a distance because the costume is more raggedy. You know what I mean? So you're not really looking real close. Then there's the hero costume that's like real stiff, but it looks good as long as your hands are down.
Right.
And it's real tight. Like so you're not supposed to be doing stunts in that because even to lift your arms. I could lift my arm, but it's like, like that. So if I had to hold a gun, it's like, so I'm like trembling, holding up the gun, and that don't look real heroic.
No.
So, but because the idea was stunt people that were my size were going to be doing the stunts in the other costumes. But what backfired is the stunt guys that were my size couldn't move like me. So then I, in the stiff suit, wound up having to do a lot of my stunts. Because some of the stunt guys they just didn't, I'm dysmorphic. What I mean by that is I am like reverse anorexic. I think I'm a small guy. And these people ask me because they see me doing all these aerial kicks and all these different things. Like, how do you do that at that size? See, I don't believe I'm this size. Like I was always dunking and doing all kinds of stuff off of, not even running. You know what I mean? But because I just can't picture myself as a big guy. I see myself as like 170 pounds. And even I get uncomfortable watching myself on screen because that's not what I think I am.
Right.
It's kind of weird. But so I don't move like a lot of the bigger guys. So, I wound up having to do a lot of the, stunts because I'm a big guy who's still light on my feet, and you can't move like a guy in a suit. You know what I mean? You can't really just do anything regular if you're supposed to be, this superhero.
Yeah, you're a hellspawn. You're a demon that has this amazing power. Like you can't just move like a robot. It's not gonna work.
Well, not even a robot, but like a regular guy.
Yeah.
Like this. Okay. Like if, I mean, a regular person is gonna stand up. You're gonna go like this, right? Now that's not like a hero can't.
Right.
A hero can't just like that. You gotta stand up like this. You know, if you gotta grab something, you can't just do this. You gotta be like. Mm-hmm. You gotta do that. You know what I mean?
Every pose has to be on the front of the comic book.
And nothing can just be regular. You gotta be at an angle, you know? And so if you're running, you can't just right, so a lot of times I'm trying to teach the stunt guys, no man, you know, but they wouldn't do it. So I got stuck doing a lot of stunts. So that was kind of hell. Because it's like we had to get it done, and so either I let it be done like they're doing it,
Right.
or I better do it.
Right.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes you gotta do it yourself, right?
Yeah.
And luckily, you're more qualified. One, because you had that mentality, but then also you have a list of martial arts skills.
Yeah,
like you have a list of martial arts skills that is longer than my arm. Like it's insane. You know so many. What are the actual forms of martial arts that you know?
Oh, this is gonna be boring to everybody. Yeah, Shotokan, Kyokushin. But put it this way: some Okinawan, which is really the base stuff.
Right.
Some Japanese and some Koreans, and then some Chinese Kung Fu.
Right.
But I started out with Japanese Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay.
Well, Jiu-Jitsu, which is Japanese.
Right.
It's kind of like some Italian pizza.
There's that Canadian jiu-jitsu out there. Yeah, I know.
But almost like you have to say Japanese Jiu-Jitsu now because it's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So
Right, because now you got that there. Yeah.
It's like it's Brazilian pizza.
Did you say Canadian Jiu-Jitsu?
You never know.
After everything. Sorry. Throwing him sorry.
Well, and that was what was it? We always heard that you had scenes in the Tarantino film Kill Bill.
Yeah.
And I was so disheartened when I found that out. I'm like, no, what? I wanted to see that.
You're in the trailer, aren't you?
Yeah, I was in the trailer. I was originally in Kill Bill. I was in a big section of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was a whole section that Quentin was going to do, and it was going to be where you first see Bill, and it was going to be done in this casino, and I was going to be in this white tuxedo with the Hatara Hanzo sword.
Okay.
And I was running the casino. Mm-hmm. Actually, Samuel L. Jackson was playing the piano player.
Oh.
In the scene.
Nice.
And it was this big thing, but Quentin decided to shoot and again create the massacre at the church, and have that as Bill's entrance instead of the casino.
Okay.
And so he X'd that whole thing out. I mean, I love film.
Right.
I wasn't mad because when he told me about it, I'm like, that's a better idea.
Right.
I know that means I'm not, my
Right.
part is, I'm not in the movie anymore.
Right.
But I'm like, hey, but honestly, Quentin was like more like a friend at that time anyway. So I'm like, for a friend, I mean, it's like, do what's best for you.
Right.
But then later, he still wanted to keep a little bit of the scene. He says, I want you to fly out to Beijing and shoot the scene anyway. I'm like, what? How does that fit in the movie? And we shot this thing, and it was supposed to be like I was Damo. A lot of people don't realize that Kung Fu was brought to China, by someone named Damo, which is like a black character. Not a character. He was a real person, Bodhidharma. He went through India and came to Shaolin, and then he brought Buddhism to China and brought Kung Fu. And see, this is one of the things that Quentin wanted to kind of, kind of put that on a platform, is to have me leading these Chinese guys.
Right.
And Quentin and I always joked around talking like the old Chinese movies. Like I'd be like, hey, where do you think you're going? All that type of stuff. Like, I'm gonna kill you right now. We would clown around and do that. And then the day we shot the scene, he's like, I want to do that in the scene. I'm like, are you serious? And he was dead serious. And so that's what we shot. But honestly, I don't know how that would have fit in the movie.
Right.
So honestly, the people say it's a shame it got cut. I go, shoot, I would have cut it. Right. I don't know where it fit.
That's true.
Yeah, it's a fun little scene by itself, but what does that have to do with the whole movie?
All right, well, I think actually it's time to open up to
We
questions.
might as well have these guys ask some questions.
Sure, we got a room full of people.
All right.
Yeah.
How you doing, Michael?
Okay.
Quick question. I mean, you're great, martial arts, everything, you know, read a lot about everything, how you stay in shape and all these exercises you do. But you're really good in front of the camera when it comes to comedy. My family, they love you in all the Tyler Perry productions. You're hilarious. Did you take like different acting lessons when it came to comedy versus like action roles?
No, I took acting classes and studied it, but I mean, I never took any comedic classes. It's just, you know, that's just my personality coming out, you know. And then Tyler kind of writes for the people. He's one of his strengths is he really can get the essence of people. And he starts to, you know, he casts for characters in mind, and like he was one of the rare people who, I mean, he knew me personally before Why Did I Get Married? So that's why he would write such a comedic role for me, no matter what. Even if I'm funny, people don't register that. People think, oh, that's the guy that kicks people in their throat. And so that just blows away anything I do funny. People just think about, no, he's a killer fighter guy. You know, it's like people are used to having somebody exist on one shelf, you know, and that kind of supersedes everything else. And so but Tyler did know about what my personality was, which is more silly, you know, than bloodthirsty.
Awesome.
Hi, Michael.
Hello.
My question is about the Black Dynamite anime series.
Mm-hmm.
After season 2, it canceled, and the director never said why.
Well, I mean, I can tell you why. You know, well, what's happening, live streaming and everything else is it's killing in cartoon networks. I mean, they just couldn't afford to put the show on anymore. It's all about advertising dollars. If you can't sell commercials anymore because, you know, people are not tuned into television as much, they can't pay for those shows. And Black Dynamite, like a lot of the shows on Cartoon Network, it was an expensive show for them. So they got to get their advertising dollars in, so they just couldn't afford to keep the show going. It did very well. It wasn't a ratings thing at all.
How you doing, Michael?
Mm-hmm.
I grew up to your movies, Universal Soldier: The Return. I was like one of my favorite ones. All your fight movies are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to know, like, have you ever been asked to actually do like any MMA actual fights? Since you're all into, you know, all the fighting, taekwondo.
No, that would be like cutting. Like I get a quarter of what I normally would make.
Well, I'm just thinking,
Right, and it's like the MMA guys are trying to eventually do what I do. You know, that would be going backwards in a big way.
it would just be nice to see you do that because, you know, some of those guys.
It'd be nice for you to see me do that. So why would I do that?
I know they're that good, so it'd just be awesome to see.
Yeah, but it's not about, you know, it's not about like, you know, I'm trying to feed my family. You know what I mean? But there's a ridiculous part of me that competes, that loves competing. So I train with a lot of the MMA guys that you may know. And I used to think, oh, somebody's gonna call me out. They're gonna say, oh, he's not real, you know. And I was thinking, yeah, some MMA guy is gonna go, you know, it's like, yeah, and I'll like do a match and just like, hello, you know, that type of thing. But you know, I train with a lot of these guys, and you know, and I like to work out with them where they train. And for me, I get the best out of them when they're at their place. So I satisfy my, you know, competitive part doing that, and I don't have to pursue that whole thing.
Only goes so far, man.
Michael J. White.
Yes.
So actually, this is two sets of questions. The first is the quick one. I know you practice Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I just want to know what your rank was.
I don't even go for rank. I just you know, I just train. I roll. I do that type of stuff. The guy over me is Shikon Machado, and I just train. I don't care about rank. Yeah, it's really irrelevant to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the second question. So, you know, you practice martial arts and you're this great movie actor, and I also wanted to know if you ever got the opportunity to spar with like a Jackie Chan or Jet Li, Jason Statham, which are also
None of
great
those
martial
guys
artists.
spar, by the way. You know what I want to put that in perspective. It's like, I know it's confusing, but there's like, it's like you don't fight your prize greyhounds. You know what I mean? There's fighting dogs and there's running dogs. I'm a weirdo because I kind of do both. But Jackie Chan doesn't spar people. You know, that's not his thing. Jet Li, they don't do that. Fighters do. But movie actors don't, really. Most of them don't. And I don't feel like Seagal or Van Damme or all these guys, a lot of guys who do movies, they don't have to be good fighters, honestly. Because Clint Eastwood didn't have to be a good shot. You know? Really, he doesn't. As long as you can bring it to the movies. Bruce Lee didn't have to be a good fighter, but he was the baddest dude ever on screen. And that's all you need to know. He was the baddest movie actor, action dude ever. You know what I mean? You wanted to be him. He's responsible for the majority of people, even who are in the movies right now. But he didn't have to be a good fighter. Schwarzenegger doesn't really have to be strong. You know, he just had to look like it. You know, but there's this thing with martial arts movie people that people seem to demand them to be able to fight. They don't have to. You know what I mean? That's just my perspective on that.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Michael, I think this always just wants you to punch someone out. Just looking forward to it. The next.
How long have you been training with Shikon Grant Campbell?
Oh goodness. Oh boy. We used to compete against each other way back in the day, and he's, you know, and we're constantly training now. I mean, if he weren't going with Bill Wallace to he left today, we'd be working out like we would have worked out earlier today. But we competed ever since like back in the early '80s against each other. But I mean, and you know, he travels with me. We train together when I do films. I just did a movie in Mexico, and he came with me, and I got him he was in the movie as well. I think I hit him in the movie. Hey.
You know, it's kind of weird seeing movies and I'm seeing in person.
Oh. Right.
Yeah. I want like 3 questions. First is like, how was your fight scene with Tony Jaa and Skin Trade?
Well, doing it, I mean,
Yeah.
we're really good friends, so there's a lot of laughter in between takes. It was a lot of fun. Hey, were you there when we shot the? Yeah, she was there when. Oh man, the stunt guy. It's Tony Jaa's stunt guy. Man, I thought I might have killed the guy.
Oh, you did? Yeah, because I know you know most of his stunts.
Not these. Not these. Like, cause you know Tony's a lot smaller than me.
Yeah.
And you know there was a scene where I was supposed to kick. If you look at the fight scene, there's a scene where I kick him, and he's supposed to smash through these 2x4s.
Yeah.
All right, and so the stunt guy got padded up, and they wanted me to really kick him. And he's a tough guy, and I really kicked him.
Yeah.
And he didn't go through the boards. The boards were, I guess they had a little bit more moisture in them or whatever, but he goes, bam! And it's like, it was all I could do not to go, like, damn, did I kill you? And then he had to do it again, and it didn't work. And I was like, oh. And then we just decided to just keep it. Just keep it in there, and then, you know, have him crawl under the thing afterwards. But the fight scene was a lot of fun. I had to go through a lot of shirts because it's hot in Thailand, and you know, it's sweaty and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
He's actually in the movie I just directed. That's coming out. Well, he's in a movie. I did Never Back Down 3.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so that's coming out in March or April, and he does a cameo in that movie. Yeah.
Also, same question. Are you doing like the Blood and Bone too?
It's written, but we don't have the deal's not final yet.
And also, is it possible you're gonna be in the new Undisputed 3 with Scott Adkins?
No. No, they're up to 4.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody else? Oh, there we go.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine.
I'm sorry, I'm just nervous.
It's okay. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm not gonna.
So you started jiu-jitsu at a young age, right?
Yes.
What gave you the passion? What was like the spark that carried you on to where you are now?
Well, you know what? Actually, martial arts is largely responsible to where I am now. Please understand, the best thing about martial arts is it teaches you discipline. And with discipline, you can accomplish anything. This is about setting your mind to goals. These little belts that you pass, those are just obstacles, right? So it's not necessarily connected to my acting or how I got into acting. It's just a mechanism that I use in my life, in my will and my discipline to accomplish things. So it's kind of like I don't know. I mean, martial arts is largely responsible for all the good things I have because of the discipline.
Anybody else? Question? There we go. Come on.
Hello, Michael.
Hello.
I was about to ask you about your directing. What are your plans in directing movies?
Well, I directed Never Back Down 3, the one that's coming out. I'll direct, especially when I think my perspective is probably the perspective that is most needed. Since in Never Back Down 3, it was, well, I wrote it basically as well, but because I understand the martial art world and I understand the acting world, cinematography, martial arts, choreography, who better to direct a movie than myself? It would be either that or I'd have to explain everything to some other director. So it's easier for me to direct it. So now there's certain movies that if I think, well, I have a unique insight into this movie, well then that would be the reason why I would direct it. Only for that reason, because it's a hell of a lot of work. And I don't want to do that unless I can make a difference. It's not about an ego thing. It's, I just want to be the director. No, that's the hardest job I could think of anybody doing. It's just so time consuming and it takes so much energy.
I feel like action movies nowadays don't really have much martial arts action stars like they used to. And I was wondering, what are your plans in future movies?
I'm going to do the best I can all the time. You know, I've got a number of things coming up that I'm very excited about that I think will make people even forget the ones I've done. So, you know, that's what I'm focused on.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Can you talk about some of the stuff that you're working on? No. Okay. Is one of them Black Dynamite too?
I was hoping for a Spawn 2. Any possibility of Spawn 2?
I just don't. That's not in my control. That's just so. That's a Sony thing, and you know, right, Sony. I can't do it. I was the actor. Yeah. Take your time.
Just any movies in general you're excited for this year?
In general, like to see?
Yeah. Don't have to include you. Just
Yeah. You know, it's terrible. I've just been so busy. I don't even know what the hell is coming out. I'm serious. I'm like, we go to Hollywood functions and things like that, and I'm afraid to say anything because I don't know who this is or that is. I'm just, yeah.
You just don't know. You're just too busy.
I really don't. I find out. You guys find out new movies that are coming out way before I do. Believe me.
All right.
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah, don't be afraid, guys.
Just, if you got a question, just line up behind him.
He's tall, but he's not scary.
Hey, I know that you played as Bronze Tiger in the Arrow TV show, but if Marvel decided to put you in a show or a movie, would you say yes? Like,
It depends on what it is. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have any character like you think you'd like to play, like off the top of your head?
I don't know. I'm sorry, bro. I don't follow it. I don't know what's going on.
No, that's okay. I'm just curious.
I just don't know what in their universe is right from. I know through fans and the audience, but I don't understand what their method of choosing is. It's beyond me. I don't necessarily understand it. So, you know, I had meetings with them, but I just, you know, they have their own kind of way of doing stuff. Yeah.
Thanks.
Hi. I just wanted to ask two things. One, what would you say your favorite scene to film in Black Dynamite was?
Wow. You know what's weird? Okay, I know what my favorite scene in Black Dynamite was in it. I realized it after the movie was there. Like personally, these movies I grew up on. Okay, these were heroes of mine. People like Jim Kelly, Fred Williamson, and Jim Brown. When I see Jim Brown, I say I want to look like that. I want to be like that. You know, this strong, powerful black man. And I see these movies like 3 the Hard Way, and I think that's the coolest thing ever. And the scene I shot where Black Dynamite gets together with Bullhorn, who's his friend, and how we shot that scene and where we shot it was a very historical place. It's a place called Mavericks Flats in LA. And one of the black icons owns the place. The guy that did this, you know, some movies back then owns it. And there's been different movies shot there. But when I saw the scene of Black Dynamite and Bullhorn, and we were playing these two friends who were getting together, you know, to fight against the man or whatever, there was something warm in my heart that I felt, because that was the imagery that meant a lot to me growing up. And so that's always my favorite scene, because not only that, that's like my best friend that I'm doing the scene with. And so that for me is my favorite scene.
That's cool, thank you. One more thing, can you do the Black Dynamite signature yell?
No. I might do that later, I don't know.
So in Black Dynamite, another one question for that.
Yeah.
how much was written versus like sort of improvised when you had that scene where you were trying to figure out like what the Little Richard thing meant? With the,
all that is
and everything?
no, that's all written.
Okay.
I mean, I say 95% of the movie is completely written. I can really say off the top of my head like the things that are improvised. There wasn't much improvised at all, and some things were just expanded a little bit. But my favorite improvised thing that was not written was, but Black Dynamite, I sell drugs to the community.
Cedric, yeah.
That was totally off the cuff. And it was so funny that it made it, I could not, that was the only time I couldn't keep a straight face. Yeah, that's Cedric Yarborough. I mean, he's a master at that stuff.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, Cedric's with, because he came, I mean, he's with the Leno 901, so he's with Thomas Lennon and all them, so I can't imagine what it's like.
Oh, my God. Improv master. Hello.
If the opportunity was given to you backstage, would you take part in a Spawn TV show or another movie?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of a loyalist. I mean, if Spawn got me here, I can't turn my back on it. You know, it meant too much. I don't like people who turn their back on what gets them places. I couldn't be one of those guys.
Thank you.
Come on up, right? While he's coming up, did any of the old, do you know of any of the old blaxploitation stars seeing Black Dynamite? Did you get any like letters of approval, everything like that?
Oh yeah, actually, my first cut of it, right, of the movie. Once I got it, I went to Jim Brown's house and he and I sat down in his basement and watched it together. Just him and me.
I'm so jealous, right?
That's the best thing ever.
And he loved it, even though I'm making fun of him in different ways. But I mean, to me, when Jim Brown, who not only is he is a personal hero in a number of ways. Okay.
Right.
When Jim Brown liked it, I mean, I didn't care anybody from that point on. Yeah. So I mean, I got the approval from the man.
Yeah, exactly. That's all you need for that.
Yeah.
Hi, good afternoon. I don't know if it was a couple years back, but there's a really cool YouTube video of while you were on set with Kimbo Slice, you were teaching him some principles of boxing, and I don't know if down in like maybe in the distant future, would you ever see yourself teaching martial arts?
I do teach martial arts. I do seminar. I'll be doing a seminar a week from today in Atlantic City with Bill Wallace and Grant Campbell, and so. I've been teaching, and I started a martial arts school at this in Connecticut. It was open for like 20 years. It's called Top 10 Karate. But yeah, I do. But I don't plan on opening up a school where I'm the regular instructor. That's just too much of a marriage, and I'm already married. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
How you doing, boss?
How you doing?
Very good. During your time on Dark Knight, you already have untapped success. Was there any advice that you got from Heath Ledger as far as like acting and enjoying your time with him?
Here's the weird thing. Heath Ledger asked for input from other people. He's that cool. I mean, he was like, "What'd you think?" I mean, honestly, Heath Ledger asked that stuff. Like he would do one take one way, and he'll do another take another way. And there was this one take, he had a deeper voice, and I was like, that one's more frightening. I think he kind of used that one. He was so not one of those method actors or whatever. He was just having fun. We were playing games and like doing magic tricks and all that stuff. Like, whenever there was not that magic trick. But he was just real cool, and it was like the most relaxed, like environment. I the director. I mean, he's brilliant. Christopher Nolan. I remember, like the first scene I was shooting, and I'm in the pool room with my guys, and I asked him a question. I said, well, do you want us to feel like we've been here for a long time, or we just got here? And he's like, I didn't think about it. What do you think? And I was like, he says, whatever you want. And I'm like, what, really? And then I said, well, and another thing, like all my guys on my gang, they're all British. They have British accents. And I don't. Do you want me to speak in a British accent? He says, I never thought about it. What do you want to do? I'm like, I'd rather speak like me. Oh, God, that'd be fine. Whatever you want. I'm like, what? This is like Christopher Nolan. This is like Batman. It was just so cool. I mean, I thought he was going to be one of these really artistic, brilliant, geniuses that, no, you must step out with your left foot. And then I thought it was like all that, but it was just chill. We were like goofing.
If you had survived a lot longer, what would you have?
I didn't shoot a death scene. And you can probably figure that out. It was like, this is what happened to me. I never was killed in the movie.
No, but if
they actually
that
had scenes.
Happened, what else you would have done in the movie?
Well, if it wasn't cut out, there was other scenes that I was supposed to do that was cut out. Because like I was saying, a lot of people would say, what happened to you? Because I wasn't killed. What happened was, unfortunately, Heath Ledger passed away, and I think they re-edited the movie to preserve more of his performances. That's what I think.
Can you disclose what the scene was? Or?
No. I'm going up against Warner Brothers. You crazy?
Nice try. Gotta try. All right, I got time for one more question.
Hello, my name's Wilson. I just have to ask, why aren't you Black Panther?
You asked me the wrong. I'm the wrong guy. You gotta ask Marvel, or what is it? Marvel? Disney. Oh, okay. See, you guys know. You'd be surprised at how much I don't know. You guys know more about this stuff than me. But I mean, it's they make their just selections. All right. I must say, when it comes to, is that a sign? Or is somebody leaning on the damn light?
That's a sign to look where you're leaning.
It's I don't know. I think they selected the Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, I just pictured you. I don't know why you chose.
I don't know why either. I don't know.
I feel like you need a second shot.
I didn't get a first shot. So.
I didn't get a second shot as a superhero because I think fine. You could have done better. I am. No.
And that's how we're ending this apparently. Jesus. Welcome to the roast of Michael J. White.
Drop the mic.
I felt like
that was great. No. I get it. I get it. No, man, I appreciate it too. I mean, but I don't think, really these the people who are making the movies, they're from a corporate mentality. A lot of times they're not really thinking like the fan base. And when it comes to African American characters, they tend to go by a formula. They don't go from the ground up. They go from a formula. This guy made this much money in this one, and he did this, and now he's going to be starring in this. Even that's just the way they do it. Unfortunately.
I hope to see you in a big superhero film.
You might be happy later this year.
Really?
There might be something that will make you not care about, that.
Maybe you'll do better this time.
All right, and leaving it with a mystery, ladies and gentlemen, Michael J. White.